someone who looks like they may really just be out the door. It's only a matter of time is Sam Darnold. And after the huge trades that happened Friday between the Niners, between the Dolphins, between the Eagles, Kayla will get into that in our first headline segment a little bit later on in the bottom half of the hour. But those moves, I think, are really indicative of what the New York Jets, maybe what their plans are with that number 2 overall pick. From what we know, the Niners tried to trade up to 2. But 3 was the highest they could get, which lets you know the New York Jets were not trying to part ways, or whatever the Niners were offering was just simply not enough. So at that position, and after what we saw from Zach Wilson in his pro day, and some of the throws and people gagaing and dribbling and drooling on social media over what they were seeing from Zach Wilson, it feels almost inevitable, to use a word that the great Thanos once used in the Marvel universe. It feels inevitable that Sam Darnold is gone, Chris, and your new quarterback will be Zach Wilson. If that is the case, how are you feeling about that imminent future?
I'll say to you what I said to a couple of my high school buddies when Sam Darnold got drafted. One's a Browns fan, one's a Texans fan, So Baker gets drafted and he's all excited, and then Sam gets drafted and everybody just looked at me and I was like, he hasn't played yet. I don't know. Go win an AFC Championship game, and that's how I'm gonna know if you're a good court. I don't know. I can't get excited about these anymore. I can't do it. It's not worth my time. It's year after year of just getting your heart destroyed, and it's like, why am I going to get excited about a 22-year-old kid who can swivel his hips and rip it 60 yards? Yeah, that's great. Sam Darnold can do that too. And to me, like, a pro day, I think is personally overrated, because every NFL quarterback in the world can throw on a pair of gym shorts and rip a ball around the dome. Every single one can do it. To me, yeah, some of those throws are great. I'm not going to deny that. I certainly can't do it, but I don't know. It doesn't get me as excited. I would love Deshaun Watson to be the quarterback of this team. Look, what's happening with Deshaun Watson in Houston is obviously concerning. If any of it's true, I don't want him to be the quarterback of the team. Yeah. But before that, and hopefully, everything comes back and he's innocent. After that, I would love Deshaun Watson to be the quarterback of this team. All of that outstanding. He's not going to be, because Miami now has more draft picks, and now there's these civil cases that will make him basically untradeable by Houston until those settle out. Because that's a known. And that is, I know that Deshaun Watson can get the ball to Corey Davis, can get the ball to Denzel Mims, and can make a bad offensive line look good, because he did that for a long time in Houston. I don't know if Zach Wilson can do that. So to me, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, because I think now, you mentioned they probably called the Jets first, because then you have your choice of Fields, Wilson, or Lance.
Yeah.
At 2. When you wouldn't have that choice at 3, because the Jets are probably going to draft a quarterback. To me, this now makes I said this earlier, the Jets pick, it already was probably the most valuable pick in the draft, because the one was not going to go. It now makes it the most valuable pick in the draft times 2, because you have, all right, number 1 is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Number 2 is going to be a quarterback, whether it's the Jets or somebody else, Carolina, Atlanta, Detroit. Number 3, going to be a quarterback, probably going to be Trey Lance. Number 4 might be a quarterback with Atlanta. Number 7, going to be a quarterback with Detroit. So if one of those teams, Detroit specifically, now sees a Carolina, number 8, sees a quarterback wanting team jump above them, are they going to now offer you more to get into the 2 spot? I don't know. I mean, Detroit's paying Jared Goff a lot of money, but if they're willing to give up 2 of their first-round picks they just got from LA to get to the 2 spot, I think I have to say yes. I think I would say yes to that. Draft Devonta Smith at 7 and an offensive lineman at 23, and walk into next year with 4 first-round picks.
Yeah, it's so hard for me. This conversation just becomes so convoluted, because there are people around the sports world, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, guys who do this for a living, who still are in on Sam Darnold. They believe he can be a really good quarterback and fringing on a great quarterback if he's in the right situation. So And you mentioned that number 2 pick being as valuable. I just don't think they're going to trade it anymore. If they wanted to trade it, they would have given it to the Niners. I really think that at this point, they want their quarterback. They want to bring in somebody, or Joe Douglas wants to bring in his guy. And it seems like Zach Wilson is that guy. But you're right. It's hard for me to goo goo gaga over a guy throwing in shorts and a cutoff T-shirt. I mean, it is what it is. And Zach Wilson, the competition he faced, when you think about it, when you compare it to the likes of what Mac Jones saw or Justin Fields, it's not even close, the competition really at the end of the day. I mean, you might call Coastal Carolina. They were a great story in college football, but that's certainly not the type of competition that Justin Fields and Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence were seeing on a weekly basis. So it's hard to discern what you're going to get exactly from Zach Wilson, but I can't blame the Jets for doing this. I mean, this is it. You got to find your guy. If Sam Darnold isn't that, then you can't waste your time, going back and forth. And for Sam, it's not fair. I mean, you're kind of holding him hostage. He's watching these moves, seeing what you're doing, but he knows in the back of his head, these moves aren't for me. I'm going to be one of these moves eventually. So I think for Sam, he desperately needs just a fresh start. Where that is, could it be Chicago? I mean, Andy Dalton's there, but I mean, that's
my question though. Where's he going to go? Right? Washington fits. San Francisco has now Trey Lance or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. Chicago has Andy Dalton. Ben went back to Pittsburgh. Philly has Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco. New Orleans signed both Jameis and Taysom Hill. So all the ones that we laid out, they could trade him there for a second round pick. They could trade him there for 2/3. They can trade him there. They all figured it out outside of Sam Darnold.
No, I would even say Houston, whatever happens with Deshaun Watson, if they need a quarterback and Deshaun Watson ends up getting suspended for the season, maybe Houston decides to give the Jets a ring and say, you know what, we need insurance, Pop. Yeah, that's also true. So it depends. I mean, the places for a starting quarterback right now, the spots are very scarce. I mean, if he goes anywhere, he might have to kind of be the backup, or, at this point, maybe it's better off that he waits. I mean, the Jets may trade him, they may not, but for Sam, I mean, I'd have to think in his heart, he'd want one more year with the Jets, at least one more year with some pieces, with things shored up around him to kind of show everyone else, hey, if this isn't going to be my long-term spot, let me show everyone what exactly I'm worth on the market going into next offseason. So this could be a crucial year for Sam Darnold to kind of show everyone, hey, there's still upside, there's still potential with me, but I need to show it, because obviously the situation I've been in the last couple of years has been, for lack of a better word, god awful. And it's just stained really the thoughts and what people think his ceiling might be in this league.
Yeah. And I think now he has a real coach. He has the best receiver the Jets have had since Eric Decker's late career brigade to Florham Park and Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Because, since the Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker 1,000-yard season in 2015, there's been no receiver to speak of on this team, and it's been probably the worst position on the team for the last 5 or 6 years. Now they have Corey Davis, who, he was a top 5 pick. Maybe he hasn't lived up to that, but a solid receiver, no doubt. I think that with Sam Darnold on this team and a couple of good picks offensive line-wise, and maybe if they're able to trade down and get Devonta Smith, that this offense can really put something together. And I don't love the Shanahan offense, but that's what it is. It's a Shanahan offense. Just sounds very culty to me. I don't know. But that's what it is in this new offense with a real coach. So I think there's a chance that he could be pretty good next year. And that this could become the right situation. It's easy to give up on Sam now. But the fact that it's not Trevor Lawrence makes it a little bit harder, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, once you use the word cult with Kyle Shanahan, I'm thinking of Kyle Shanahan and all his former offensive coordinators, and they're all hooded up and they have their playbooks out and they're almost kind of saying mantras to just kind of get the vibes offensively.